Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is April the 16th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Today was nice from top to bottom. I really enjoyed it. For all things considered, having to be at work and all that. But work was solid. It was another busy day, but I gotta be real with y'all. These are my confessions, work edition. I kind of just fucked off and talked to maintenance for like a good chunk of my day. They were handling like the batteries and stuff, which some of the batteries they were handling, what like it was next to an equipment area where is like right next to me. So they were just kind of chilling, a couple of them, and we were just talking shit, just talking about what's going on in the world, talking about life, yada yada yada. Almost felt like a pre-podcast for your boy. But yeah, no, it was a solid time. Work was busy. Some things fell by the wayside. Sans the cardboard, or the cardboard did, I should say, not sans the cardboard. Whatever words. But it got done enough. Okay, don't come for me. It was fine. So what? I kept it like maybe 95 with the job today. Oh well. That being said, we did get fed today. It was food treat Wednesday. Yay! Don't unionize Wednesday. It was solid. I will say a little bit of a slap to the face, baby. I'll say that up top. But overall, it was a cute little good treat. We had corn dogs with fries, and I gotta say the fries were very peak because they were, one, fried in peanut oil. Two, you had the option of getting cheese and or ranch on them. Which I gotta say, for me, when it came down to my decision, I was like, no ranch, please. Just cheese. Cheese is great. But yeah, those fries were bussin'. I shouldn't say that. Whatever. I'm 34 years old. But then they had a corn dog as well. Now, corn dog was good. I won't even say this is a knock, but it was like it was chicken based hot dog inside, which we do for a reason. There's a lot of people, for either religious, cultural reasons, whatever, they don't like pork. They don't want to eat pork. So that's a no-go for a lot of people. So either you have to have them super separate, or you have to completely knock it off the menu if you can't separate it, right? So that's fair. Totally get it. That's fine. Chicken is like the safest option you can go for. And plus, it's fine. It's a dog. I generally don't care. Generally, a hot dog to me is a thing filled with parts. I don't overthink it. I've eaten so much McDonald's in my lifetime, I just don't care. But my only beef, my gripe, was that usually something like this is an unlimited thing. We usually can go and get it as many times as we want, so you can hit it up anywhere from like 1 to 3 times usually. But this time they said, nope, you gotta get a ticket. You got your ticket, you get one. And it's like, man, and I just didn't even feel like scamming. You know what I mean? So it was good though. It was yummy, a nice little treat. Man, like that's one of the things is I wish that I switched from using the normal, what is it, vegetable oil that I normally use, and I switched to peanut oil. It's just the problem is peanut oil is so much more expensive, and especially nowadays, what does it matter? I use my air fryer every night, damn near. So it's like I'm kind of post it, but it was yummy, it was nice. See, that was a nice little treat. Work was good. Gym was good post work. So no complaints there. We had a solid session, and that takes us back to the homestead, and here we are podcasting it up. So yeah, hopefully the episode from yesterday was good. I don't when I checked it, I didn't hear any like hitches or any technical difficulties or problems, but maybe there was. Whatever. These things happen. Once again, mea culpa is so. But yeah, I think I do like the setup a little bit more now. It seems to run all right, run smoothly. So that's good. Snaps for that. Let's see here. Quick corrections corner before we do the startup. Normally I do it post the startup, but I don't want to forget. In the Sudan conflict, the Sudan war going on right now, the civil war going on. Yesterday I said it was 3 years. I was wrong. It was 2. So just wanted to put that correction up and out on the airwaves. But hey, I'm a person who is chock full of mistakes. These things happen. If you ever catch them, you can let me know. I do appreciate that because that's something I definitely deem constructive. I am handling factual news here. I don't want to get these things wrong, right? So if I ever do and you notice, I appreciate that. I've definitely had, listeners hit me up and say, hey, man, love the episode, but you got that wrong. That was a little off. I appreciate that because then I can, fix it at least in the little comments or the bio. And I can also just come back, the next day and say, hey, got this wrong, got that wrong. My bad. So yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup. Let's get into some news. Yummy, yummy. Our first story comes from The Hill. Van Hollen denied meeting. Phone call with Abrego Garcia during El Salvador visit. Excuse me, I'm still a little stuffy. The Salvadorian government on Wednesday rebuffed Senator Chris Van Hollen's, who's a Democrat from Maryland, request to meet or speak with a wrongfully deported Maryland man, the senator said, accusing the Trump administration and others of lying about Kilmar Abrego Garcia's gang ties. Van Hollen said Salvadorian Vice President Felix Ulloa, we're going to say Ulloa, told him the government had no information connecting Abrego Garcia to MS-13, but could not accommodate a visit to the notorious CCOT prison, known by its acronym in Spanish. If the government of El Salvador has no evidence that he was part of MS-13, why is El Salvador continuing to hold him in CCOT? Van Hollen asked. And his answer was that the Trump administration is paying the government of El Salvador to keep him at CCOT. The fiery conference was in many ways a rebuttal to numerous Trump administration claims, with Van Hollen directly pleading for Abrego Garcia's release and accusing the Trump administration of violating a Supreme Court order by failing to do anything to facilitate his return. Van Hollen left for El Salvador around 6 a.m. Wednesday after saying he would travel to the country if Abrego Garcia was not returned by midweek. Loa told Van Hollen he would need more time to arrange a visit to CCOT and even said a phone call with the senator or his family back in Maryland couldn't be arranged swiftly, saying the request would need to come from an embassy, Van Hollen said. AKA, he was stalling. And even with the CCOT visit, it seemed very akin to what, was it, Kristi Noem? Yeah, the dog killer person. Now Department of Homeland Security, director, leader, whatever the fuck, top. But, essentially, yeah, you just do this tour, which is more or less for just publicity. And I mean, hell, they've had even, I've mentioned this before, but an ABC reporter come to CCOT, and the reporter even asked, he's like, hey, so over there, he indicates hey, over there, that's where the Americans are, right? Or, those are the people who have been taken from America to here. Could we go see that? Could we go even maybe talk to them? And they immediately no, you can't. Just know they're over there. That's all we're telling you. So you're not getting much information out of these, out of anyone from El Salvador. They're essentially just showing you hey, look at how good job we're doing handling these prisoners. Pretty much just doing torture. So it's very unfortunate that, when given any pushback by someone like a senator saying, hey, look, I'm a high enough person, right? On the food chain, let me see a person from my, my state. Is he a citizen? No, but he should have all of these rights. He should have this due process. So let's get this ball rolling. Let me come to you. I think it is a really great gesture. It's worth noting that, saying that. It's just a shame that it's you're going to get the same runaround that anyone else would get in this situation. Because why? Trump is the guy up top. His administration is the one running the show. And in El Salvador, this is what they want. So they're just going to keep kind of bullshitting, kiting, I imagine, Van Hollen around if he were to come back. I don't think there's going to be much to really gain out of this. But I still think that this was definitely the right thing to do, the best thing you could do, for someone in the situation that is coming from your state. So, kudos to Van Hollen for doing that, at least to that extent. As I kind of segue out of this story into the next one, and I know I do a lot of anecdotal stories and stuff that I see from the internet, and I know that that's not, I hope sometimes, a lot of times, that this isn't the rest of like the world or other people's experience on the internet, but I've been seeing a lot of people being like they just randomly start typing out and spouting out this assumption like, I bet he's dead, and like they're just not even showing him, like, and it's like, it's possible, sure, but like, why are you jumping to this conclusion? It's just doing the like yelling fire in like a crowded room thing, but you have no reason to do it. Like, and what is that gain? What does that accomplish? And like, where did you pull that from? Like, I guarantee you the people making these posts don't even know CCOT. They haven't even thought or even like done anything outside of this story, which is fair, which is fine. Guess what? Ditto, same. But to make that leap, it just doesn't seem useful. It doesn't seem productive to do. Like, I'm not trying to run defense for El Salvador here. They probably clearly just don't want to show any of these Americans in bad situations. And I mean, granted, maybe some people are like, well, they're not Americans actually. It's like, no, they lived here. They were here. They had a whole life here. And essentially, Trump has literally said, we'll get the homegrowns next. I would love that. Can you do that? Can you do that, Bukele? And Bukele's like, I got the room, baby. So you don't want to show people their potential future fate. So yeah, you're trying to say, hey, this is the best face of this like torture prison that we have here, where we just kind of keep people here and we suspend their rights and shit. We'll show you the best of it, but we're not showing you any of the other shit. Also, once again, speaking of the internet, people keep referencing this satellite photo. It's supposed to be like this Google Maps of the CCOT prison. And which I think they call it a detention center or whatever. It's on some Guantanamo Bay shit. Call it what it is, though. Like, you're over here holding people indefinitely. Now, in terms back to that picture, I don't know. I haven't verified it. I didn't hit the Snopes on that shit. I don't know. But people are taking that and running with it and just spamming the photo. And once again, I have to ask, what is the productive benefit of that? I don't get it. Like, I saw it a couple times. Did it move me? Is it sad? Yes. Like, especially if true. Yeah, fuck. Prisons suck. They suck there. They suck here. They suck everywhere. They are not getting any better. So, that's something that's kind of running around on the internet. I hope it's not real, but I could totally see it being real. I don't get what that does. It feels like a really weird way of being like, yeah, I'm making people see the truth. And it's like, you don't even know if that is the truth. You're just kind of posting that. I hate when people do that shit. And it's like, whoa, you're over here podcasting and da-da-da, probably spreading misinformation, you dumbass. Maybe so. And you can always correct me with some facts, and then we can correct it. Once again, that's why I have a corrections corner and shit, you dumbass. So, like, don't come for me, all right? I'm doing the best I can. Also, I silo this shit here. Like, yes, I share a link, and you can always click on this shit if you want to. All right. But like, I just think it's weird that people do these kind of things for like straight up clicks. They're just farming for the moment. And I just wish it's like, I don't think that shows that you care. I think it just shows that you want attention about a thing. And it's like, no, man, I'm trying to start some shit. I'm trying to start revolution. No, you're not, bro. I hate that energy that people bring to the fucking function when I go on Facebook, when I go on goddamn X, the everything app. Like, man, be real, show compassion, do some shit by all means. But like, once again, more times than not, that usually means getting off your ass and organizing. It usually means getting off, like, and doing something. But once again, it's just so much easier to clickety clackety. I get it. I understand. I'm a guy with a fucking Blue Yeti, so I definitely get it. I do. But like, at least just know you're performing. You're doing both of the clown shit. You're not actually fucking doing the revolution. You're not doing some praxis today. I don't know. I'm talking about a thing, and I'm also just like fucking doing my airing my grievances, which, that's my podcast. I can do that. But anyway, let's move along. From the Associated Press, Trump administration sues Maine over participation of transgender athletes in girls' sports. This story and the next story are also, trans-related, are both trans-related. Just more or less what seems like the legal attack that you can see on the transgender community right now, unfolding, evolving, especially as we move through this Trump administration, but then also in an international sense, just what the UK Supreme Court is doing. That's in the next story. But anyway, The Trump administration on Wednesday sued Maine for not complying with the government's push to ban transgender athletes in girls and women's sports, escalating a dispute over whether the state is abiding by federal law that bars discrimination in education based on sex. The lawsuit follows weeks of feuding between the Republican administration and Democratic Governor Janet Mills that has led to threats to cut off crucial federal funding and a clash at the White House when she told President Donald Trump, "We'll see you in court." I actually fuck with that. That like I love because as an American we spend so much time suing each other and shit. So like I love a good lawyer up asshole. Like it just hits. It just does. I'm sorry. Let's see here. The political overtones of the moment were clear with Attorney General Pam Bondi and one of the athletes who joined her on stage at the Justice Department. Also, I want to reference this. This is Riley Gaines they are referencing. The biggest fucking turf crybaby I've like heard since J.K. Rowling, maybe. Like, she not just lost, because she was already going to lose. She was already in 5th place. She tied 5th with a transgender athlete. And she was so mad about it. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, this just isn't fair. Like, I could have been 5th by myself, but I have to share with a person who's not even, like, biologically a woman. And it's like, bro, you just suck. You just aren't a good swimmer, maybe. Or you're, like, only top 5. Maybe, you know, maybe top 6. Maybe hang it up. Put the cap up. Like, but no, she has to come and be a fucking turf. Like, she decided to make it her whole grift. Good for her. Gas up, girl boss. You did it. You're doing it. Congratulations. These people make me fucking sick. I'm sorry. Let's see. President Trump, before he was elected, this was a huge issue for him, Bondi said. Pretty simple. Girls play in girls' sports, boys play in boys' sports. Men play in men's sports, women play in women's sports. Like, okay, dude, it is the same kind of thing that we talked about previously yesterday with Hungary, saying, hey, we're not anti-gay. It's not about that. You can do whatever the fuck you want. This is about protecting the kids. And your little party, your little gay parade is confusing the children. It's gonna make them gay. We don't want that. That's bad. That's illegal. It trumps all of your rights, pretty much. Sorry about it. And here we're saying, well, we have to protect women, right? We have to protect women. You know, there was one time where a transgender athlete, she spiked a ball and it hit a girl so hard she almost died. Like, once again, get fucking good, because you could have been a biological woman and like maybe you had just more in the tank than they did, and guess what? That same situation happens. Don't be such a fucking loser about it. I'm sorry. So I actually don't even know in that situation that person like piped up about it or not. I hate what happens in these culture war situations out of these things, because God forbid you are a trans woman and you do decent, or you have a moment where you actually win in a sport. Because guess what? Now, guess what? You are the example. You are everything that's wrong with sports right now. But if you weren't, then no one will be fucking talking about this shit. It is so strange. It's like, nah, you just can't win. You can't be like, we're gonna make you an example if you actually do decent. Like, it is so wild that we go out of our way to otherize other people in these situations just for like usually political fucking gain, you know, or fear of an unknown thing, because we just don't want to take the time and actually sit with a person and get to know them and then treat them like you would want to be fucking treated. I come to this shit and I talk about this shit until I'm blue in the goddamn face. I don't know how else to word this shit to like make people get it. I really don't. Because I know that at the end of the day, people, they fall back on the same fucking axiom of like, well, I'm just talking science, bro. You can't get with that. You can't get with that. Like, no, you're fucking not talking about science. You don't even have a fucking degree, bro. Like, shut up. I hate these kind of people who want to like make the conversation about that, when really it's just, you're scared. You're scared and you're upset because someone who's different than you is in front of your face. And it's like, dog, like, once again, I always take it because it's always like, well, hey, man, like, what about my black ass? Like, is that too different for you? Is that too weird for you? Because there was a time where people were talking science about that shit, talking biology about that bullshit. Shit, they were getting religious about that bullshit. And would you have eaten it up then? I bet you fucking would have, you fucking idiot. Like, I hate having this conversation because it just becomes more and more prevalent, it seems. And then we're gonna segue into this because I mean there's obviously more details to get into, but you know we're gonna leave that on the table. like just the idea of just this is about defending women and you have these women championing this issue. It's like, no, dude, you're just a turf. Like, believe it or not, you hate other women. Like these people identify as as women, or when they change they identify as a man. You should just take them at that. I don't understand why that's so fucking hard to do, human to human. I don't get that. I really don't. It drives me up a wall to like have these conversations with the other side. Like, because it just feels like it's like, no, man, you're not listening. You don't want to listen. You want the government to do what you want them to do. And guess what? They are down to provide. And that's wild because what you want is taking away other people's rights so that you can feel, is that empowering for you as a woman? I really don't know. I can't imagine. Like, just play the goddamn game. Like, oh, I hate that shit. Sorry, let's move along. I'm kind of fusing these things, but really it's whether here, there, everywhere across the pond. This is the same thing to me. This is from The Guardian, the next story. Legal definition of a woman is based on biological sex. UK Supreme Court rules. The UK Supreme Court has issued a historic and definitive ruling that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act refer only to a biological woman and to biological sex. In a decision that delighted gender critical activists, I'm gonna call most of these motherfuckers terse, because the ones they reference here are women who are essentially like, yeah, we're feminists, of course, but for like real women, biological women, actually, we want to defend those women. Fuck you. I'm sorry, bro. Ugh, you make me sick. 5 judges ruled unanimously that the legal definition of a woman in the Equality Act of 2010 did not include transgender women who hold gender recognition certificates, or GRCs. So it's like we've gone through this whole goddamn rigmarole so that we can be legally, perceived as what we want to be perceived, as our identity is as a woman. And you're like, nah, that really don't matter though. We're actually making this so much easier, by the way. Because it's just boy, girl, man, woman. It's just so much easier. But the UK is acting like they can just kind of tiptoe and fence sit on this. They're like, but we want to make sure that you're not discriminated against. You will have rights. You will have your pay. As a woman, you're going to have your equal pay. But it's like, oh, so I'm a woman here, but not really to you, right? Like, you're not saying, because I'm biologically, even if I go through all the fucking shit, I do the whole fucking change, kit and caboodle, you're like, nah, but biologically, you just weren't born that way. So, sorry about it. You're just gonna have to take the L on that part. But we don't want to discriminate you. You matter, and you're a person. It's like, you cannot do that. Like this isn't a winning, like, logical thing. You're going to create only more and more problems doing it this way, in my opinion. You don't actually get a dub here. Except, once again, if you're a fucking turf, if you wanted this fucking thing to happen, because once again, you are stripping and siphoning more rights away from the other side here. So it's like, cool, hopefully I get to see less of these people. They're not going to be around me anymore. Or I can now ostracize them and talk shit to them and otherize them, and I have legal precedent, whatever the fucking word is, to do so. The J.K. Rowlings of the world are creaming to this shit. They literally are. Sadly, I had to use these motherfuckers as my thumbnail for the middle part. Tomatoes to all of them. I'm sorry, but like, fuck them. The UK government said the ruling brought clarity and confidence for women and those who run hospitals, sports clubs, and women's refugees. Because we're keeping them all safe. Huh? Yeah, we are. But we're also ostracizing other women, right? Who we've said, yes, you are a woman, but you're not woman enough. Sorry. So you're going to have to just get fucked here. But the women that we want, the biological ones, they're safe and sound. We did it. Cheerio, governor. Like, what the... I'm sorry. I know. I'm on one right now. The case was brought to the Supreme Court by the Gender Critical Campaign Group for Women Scotland, which is backed financially by J.K. Rowling, the Harry Potter bitch. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said it. I told myself, Isaiah, don't say it. Don't say that. And not even a half of an IPA later. My bad. Mea culpa. I'm sorry. After 2 Scottish courts rejected its arguments that the Equality Act's definition of a woman was limited to people born biologically female. Lord Hodge, what a fucking name, The deputy president of the court said the Equality Act was very clear that its provisions dealt with biological sex at birth and not with a person's acquired gender, regardless of whether they held a gender recognition certificate. Ooh. Now, I can't speak on a UK fucking constitution or whatever the fuck, or any of the amendments or whatever the hell. It's not my bag. It's not my goddamn scene. But I can speak on being a goddamn human on the goddamn planet of fucking Earth. So that's where I'm coming from here. That affected policymaking on gender in sports and the armed services, hospitals, as well as women-only charities and access to changing rooms and women-only spaces, he said. However, trans women still have equal pay rights as women and could have the right to be treated as women in some situations. How have you made this easy? How have you made this transparent? You haven't. You took a shit in the water and you're saying we did you a favor. You're welcome. We love women. Smooches. You didn't do shit, bro. I fucking hate this shit, man. This shit makes me so upset with the world, dude. Because in the previous story, that's here. That's in my fucking backyard, you know? I mean, granted, I don't live in Maryland. I live in America, goddammit, of course. So, you know, it sucks to see this shit. It sucks to see this erosion here. But then once again, as I pan out to the big blue and I go across the goddamn pond and we're doing the same shit. We go to Hungary, we're doing the same shit, dude. It just sucks that people would just rather be this way. Time and time again, dude. It's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Anyway, I mean, there's more here we could scroll through and yap on, but I will leave that there. We have one more thing I wanted to cover, so let me take my last break. I've done hurt my throat yelling at my microphone like this. Oh, man. It sucks, dude. And living where I live, there's a lot of people who have that whole biological woman thought. So I hear this shit a lot, and it just sucks because it's like, look, dude, like, I don't fuck with the way you're thinking and talking right now. But I also know it's like, hey, you're my coworker. You're a person who's like been in the same kind of circle of people sometimes. And so it's like, I have to interact with you. I have to take these like dumbass takes. And like, maybe if it's off work, sure, we can kind of like filter this out and talk about it a little bit. And like, you can say your 2 cents. I can say my 2 cents, whatever. But it does suck to have to maneuver around this shit. Like on any given Sunday, you know what I mean? It's shit. And I mean, I'm sure that happens even in like liberal places and spaces, of course, but it's just never ending. The ignorance, like just, and once again, how do you talk to a person who's just going to fall back on that fucking line of like, sorry, buddy, it's biology. Just deal with it. Anyway. Meanwhile, they're using science to do whatever the fuck they want so they can get big and strong and bulky or lose all their weight or do this, that, and the third, whatever. It's like, why are you talking about biology, brother? Like, you're sure shit morphing and warping your shit whenever the fuck you want. And that's allowed. You're still allowed to be a human and still have your own fucking rights and dignity. But God forbid someone else wants to change their gender or whatever, you know, be themselves. Oh, that's a fucking problem, bro. That's not gonna be okay with me and mine, all right? You're gonna fuck with my kid's life if you do that, all right? That's butterfly effect. Ashton Kutcher, look it up. Like, just get fucked. I'm sorry. Like, I know this is me doing a little bit of a longer rant here, but like, it just sucks to kind of cover this shit, especially in like a back-to-back fashion, you know? And there's another thing I said before, where it's like, you know, why are you so passionate about this? One, I have friends, you know, who are in this situation who have to deal with this shit on a daily basis. It's their life. Two, look at my black ass. I know you can't see it on the video. There's no video here, but like, if you're a person of color, you should understand this shit. That's also another thing that fucking irks me to no goddamn end. When it's like, you know, a person who's gone through some struggle and they just use that as like almost the exact excuse to be that way against other people. It's like, bro, this is why we can't have shit. This is why no one can have shit, bro. Because we're crabs in a bucket and we act like it. You gotta stand with the people to the right and to the left of you, man. You really do. Like, you're not gonna make it alone. You know, I say this as a person who's pretty much alone all the time. But like, you have to like believe in people and want to fight for people. You just do. You just fucking do, man. Anyway, on that note, let's take our last break. That broccoli. Ooh. Oh no. Ooh, sorry. I'm coughing. From Local 12. 900 engines stolen from Kia assembly plant in phased and planned manner. Police. Now, this is a bit of a palate cleanse. I just wanted to talk about something a little light, a little small. Um, but I mean, hey, it's international, even though we said the local 12. And it's a caper. Y'all know I have a soft spot. One of my little soft spots as a newsie supreme, is I love a good heist. All right, I love covering little things, little incidents where people go, "Oh, I'm gonna make a move." Actually, what was it? A week or two ago, I missed this story where some people were robbing like olive oil. They were jacking for olive oil. What was it, a year or two ago? I covered a story about a cheese heist. I love that shit. That's just so fun to me. Like, obviously, don't steal. Don't go do some shit to police Papa. Don't do that. But like, I just love a good heist. I just do, y'all. Ever since my dad sat me down and I watched this thing, I was like, oh, this is my shit. I love pulling a move. I love seeing a move pulled. I won't say I love pulling a move. I can't pull a move. I can't sell a lie. I'm bad at that. But like, goddamn, I love a good one. As long as you're not doing that to my ass, don't Ocean's 11 me, bitch. I'm trying to fight. No, I don't know. Anyway, authorities said hundreds of engines were stolen from a Kia factory. According to Road and Track, citing a report from the Economic Times, authorities have launched an investigation into after Kia conducted a year-end audit in March and discovered that a total of 900 engines were stolen from its manufacturing facility in Andhra Pradesh, India. The engines were believed to have man, there's some little errors, little typing errors here, but hey, that happens. The engines were believed to have been stolen for over a half a year period by some current and former Kia employees, according to Road and Track, citing authorities. You know what? Smarter move would have probably just been getting this from Road and Track, but hey, we move. We're already here. We're in the trenches. Preliminary investigation shows the engines were stolen in a phased and planned manner. It is certain that some insiders were involved. We suspect that there was convenience between, or maybe not convenience, it's maybe a word I don't know. Connivance? Whatever. Between some former and present employees, said Pinukanda Deputy Superintendent of Police Venkates Valalu Road and Track reported. Y'all know I fucked that up. Y'all know I get an F for that one. Indian police first theorized that Kia's technology was stolen during transportation from the country's southern state of Tamil Nadu to the facility of Andhra Pradesh, which located several hundred miles to the north, which was located, per the outlet. According to Road and Track, in the wake of further investigation into the matter, authorities now believe that the motors were taken directly from the factory, with company records being manipulated to hide the alleged theft. So there you go. That's kind of how they were able to keep this kind of going in a low and slow manner. Because once again, if you have people who are involved high enough, you can just kind of control the numbers and make sure it's like, hey, no one's really noticing. We're good. We're gone. Just take another engine, get out of here. The report from the outlets states that the facility involved, which first opened in 2019, produces between 300,000 to 400,000 vehicles annually. A Kia spokesperson said the loss of the engines has not impacted the factory's output. So this is almost like the Office Space crime. If you've ever seen that movie, it's a goated movie. I don't care if I'm spoiling it for you because it's an old movie. But like the idea of saying, hey man, the move to get back at our company is we're going to do a little fucking, what was it? It's like a virus thing that they install where whatever this malware does or whatever, it extracts like fractions of a penny from the company and then deposits them into an account, which they were all going to take at the end. That was their end game. That was the plan anyway, right? So it's almost like that's very akin to this, where it's like we're taking an engine part from a car of 300,000 to 400,000. No one's gonna know. This is breakage. We're collecting the breakage. And I don't know how much an engine's gonna run you for just selling the parts to whoever, however, but I imagine it's probably enough. And they almost got like almost 1,000 of them. So, they made what lick they could. And I mean, there's no suspects. Let's see. The superintendent of police identified only as Rafna said 3 special teams are formed to investigate the matter. Our teams are traveling the country to collect crucial documents, and the investigation is progressing swiftly. So, I mean, we'll see if anything pops out of this. I know this was a bit of a smaller story, so I don't know even if there is going to be any results, if I'm going to hear about them. But I just thought it was fun to kind of, close the day out with. But that is going to be it for the episode. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, become a newsie today. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Free ways to help out the effort that you don't have to pay me for or anything like that. Sure, you don't get the newsy shout out, but you do get love. I do send love, at least internally. Hopefully you feel that through the airwaves in a non-parasocial way. Subscribe to the YouTube. Hit that. Click that button. Boop, boop. You can keep up with the Joneses that way. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Sharing is caring. I always appreciate that. But you don't have to. Even if you just tell a friend, word of mouth. Hey, I got this kooky friend who does a podcast. You don't have to do that, by the way. But you could. Don't disappoint us if you do. I really just appreciate you listening. Shout out to the homies who, keep up with this shit on TikTok. I see you. I appreciate you. For the motherfuckers who following on Spotify, that's dope. Dude, I will tell you the fucking thorn of my day, actually. Now that we're at the end, I forgot about this until I just said it. Spotify was down. That was an L. Look, y'all already know my work performance is actually not, it's a big suspect sometimes. But I was struggling. I had uninstalled the motherfucker, reinstalled it, couldn't get back on. I'm like, what's going on? I can literally get on YouTube and do everything I want to do here. Why can't I get on my Spotify app? And essentially it was just down. Like, they were down till about, for me, it was till about like 11, 12 o'clock. So I was kind of hurting. I got through maybe 2 of my podcasts. I had to go through the whole rigmarole of Apple Podcasts, which you can also listen to the podcast on, just to listen to the daily, just to hear what's, more details on the Trump-Iran, situation, all that bullshit. So, fuck you. Thank you, Spotify, for fucking around and fixing that shit. Anyway, follow me on there. Follow me anywhere and everywhere. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.